Hey folks, Dave here, and I like knives. Here to talk to you today about knives that I have multiples of in whatever regard. 2, 3, etc. 4 actually for this video. And a little bit about why I have them. In the last video, I didn't have as much, like I had knives that I didn't know why I had them. This group, they're knives that I like a little bit more, that I care more about, so I'm a little bit more intentional and have better stories. And starting off with is the Spyderco Native 5. This is blade and S30V and lightweight, and it's actually something that I found from a guy on OfferUp, I believe it was, OfferUp or Craigslist. So drove to his place of business and he handed me a fistful of knives. I handed him money. Actually, one of the other knives from that deal will be showing up a little bit later. This is a great knife. I have it sharpened to a razor blade. Incredible knife. However, this was as I was growing in a knife guy, and you run into a decision that I legitimately wonder how many of y'all fall into, and that is Spyderco Lightweight, Maximet, or S110V. And that's a question that I had for a really long time. I know that I want a Native, I know that I want a Mannix, and I know that I want something in Maximet and I want something in S110V. And spoiler alerts, I was able to accomplish both of those. The one that I bought first was this baby. This is a Spyderco Native in Maximet, and this thing is ludicrously sharp and holds it forever. This thing has eaten more pizza boxes. It's incredible. Incredible steel. There's so much more work done by people who understand steel than I do. All I know is that it cuts real good and it cuts real long. Fairly brittle, but I don't super care about that. Cuts real good, cuts real long. Being a little bit smaller blade, I feel like aids that a little bit. Great knives. And again, this is one of the cheapest ways. This is kind of a theme with my collection, generally speaking, but this is legitimately one of the cheapest ways to get your hands on Maximet. So if that is a steel that you have interest in, I've heard the Spyderco Lightweight series described as kind of a glass cannon, in that it's got an incredible steel and FRN, weak, low quality handles. I don't know about low quality, these things are pretty solid, but I absolutely agree with that sentiment. So if you're looking for Maximet, this is the way to go. It's one of the cheapest ways to get your hands on it. Next one is an S30V Blur. And I do not have a regular Blur. I love hearing stories about people who had Blurs. The black Tanto with serrations, and that's kind of your first step into real knives. But I got S30V, and this may have actually been my first S30, no, other than my paramilitary, that thing showing up, but I think this was my second S30V blade. And I loved it. Not a big fan of recurves though. And I may or may not have a thing with tiger stripes. So, being the pinnacle of self-restraint that I am, I, of course, went and got a Tanto Tiger Stripe Blur, and this thing is beautiful, and it's one of my favorite things that has ever existed on God's green earth. I love it. Look at it. It looks so dumb. It's so good. Absolutely beautiful. Next, we have a SOG Flash, now Flash 2. Flash 1, I believe, is smaller. Now, if you're keeping track at home, I very rarely have any good thing to say about SOG. Exceptions obvious. And I will defend that. As far as their knives go, or have gone in the past, I don't believe that there's generally any good thing to say. However, the Flash model was good enough for it to be rebooted with the Aegis and Trident into a new upgraded D2 model. This was good enough to stand, the older model was good enough to stand head and above the rest of their budget crap and make me really want to pick one up when it got discontinued. Black coated Tanto blade, absolutely. Give me some of that. You'll notice that I've got a thing, especially on my second knives, that I've got a thing for Tanto. It's a thing. We all have things. Next is the Benchmade Barrage. Now this is a mini barrage, and it was, I believe it was my first assisted access lock. And I really, really liked it. Got it from a guy, once again, I believe Craigslist or OfferUp, who had both this and the full size and wanted to get rid of the small one. Very snappy, incredible knife. One of my favorite small knives. If I'm traveling, this is one of the ones that's in consideration for going with me. But in case you're picking up when I'm throwing down, give me something that's bigger and black and Tanto. This thing is gorgeous, and it kicks like a horse. Absolutely incredible. So mini barrage and big barrage. I love those knives. They're incredible. Next is, again, I already had the upgraded steel, but this is one that's a question about blade design, blade shape. This is an Enduro. This is a Spyderco Enduro in ZDP 189. I love it. It's great. Once again, this is actually, the Delica. Well, now actually the Dragonfly. Manbug, whatever. This family of Spydercos is one of the cheapest ways to get into ZDP 189. And just speaking from my personal experience with a big blade, you want to do it. I mean, keep it washed, keep it clean and oiled, because thing likes to rust. But it was not long ago that Spyderco began releasing Wharncliffe models. And Wharncliffe's, again, one of my favorite blade styles. I like flat lines, apparently. So I went, but I didn't like how they were done. The Delica and the Enduro in the beginning. Now they have the Dragonfly as well, but at first it was just the Enduro and the Dragonfly. So I went and got a Knives Plus version, where they went and cut it off so that it is hot diggity pokey. Absolutely beautiful. I love Knives Plus. They do really good work, personalized letters, really good work. Next one is a Spyderco Mannix 2 Lightweight. Now this is something that I did find on OfferUp. Drove like an hour to meet this guy in a Waffle House parking lot to give him $50 to walk away with this thing. And absolutely beautiful. I love this knife. However, as I mentioned earlier, I had a dilemma. And that dilemma was lightweight Mannix versus S110V. I love this knife. I've always wanted to upgrade the steel. See, BD1 is a fine budget steel. It's actually what's on this Blur. However, when you find an S110V on eBay for a good price, and it's got a sharpening choil already cut in, and it comes, well, other than the modification new in box, you can't pass it up, right? You can't pass it up, not when you find it for a good price. And I switched to the pocket clips because I prefer the black wire clip. And then another variant came out of their G10 models that is, again, for those playing at home, just a color scheme that I can't pass up. This is a coated M390 blade with flat dark earth, with FDE G10 handles, and hot dog is that action incredible. Amazing knife. So with this one, it was a combination of steel and coloration that led me to get the multiples. And I love it. These two are, obviously this will always have a place in my heart, but I don't carry it nearly as much as I do these two. And it's, S110V, this is one of the absolute go-tos if you know that you're going to be breaking a lot of stuff down and making a lot of cuts. This, one of my go-to work knives. It's coated, it's easy access, it's one-handed, and steel that lasts a long time with an edge. And as previously stated, I've got a thing for warnies. This is an S30V Spyderco Yojimbo. It is the original model in which it was released. Yojimbo 2, whatever. And this is an incredible knife, and I loved it for a really long time. However, the first knife that I ever actually wanted an exclusive of, I think it actually is the first exclusive that I ever had, was the Blade HQ exclusive M4 coated version. And I set my alarm, I was ready at work, I acted like I was busy at my desk, just kept hitting refresh, and 12 o'clock hit, I hit submit at 12:02, the whole internet shut down. For the whole rest of the workday, I was frantic, I was getting emails about order not properly submitted, I didn't know what was happening. 5 o'clock hits, I hop in my car, and the whole way from work to home, I'm on the phone with Blade HQ, and please tell me that my order went through. The guy says, don't worry, the system was overloaded. Your M4 is gonna be there soon, buddy. And so it was. Incredible. I really, really, really like this thing. Just an absolutely incredible knife. But you'll probably notice that this is not the exclusive handle. Instead, just this past year, the Yojimbo was released in S30V with a coated blade and blacked out hardware. Interesting blacked out hardware, where they even blacked out the spider right there. I love that little attention to detail. Blacked out the liners. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is wearing some 5x5 solutions, 5x5 tactical, 5x5 stuff. They're basically Emerson wave opener and their deep carry pocket clip. A little bit extra gear to pretty up my pretty lady. I love it. It's so nice. This is one of my favorite knives. It's geared for self-defense. That's what it's specifically meant for. But I mean, what an incredible box opener razor blade of an EDC. Incredible knife. This is one that I actually have a whole lot more of than I thought. In making this video, I ran around and collected all of my stuff. And I actually have a couple of mini grips that I pulled out and then put back where I had them, just because they're the same thing but smaller. This is a mini Reptilian in the first version that I had. Sheep's foot, hole opener. And then Blade HQ, I think it was a Blade HQ exclusive, I'm not sure. But they made a run of the OD Green D2 blade, so this was a little bit discounted. So obviously you got to pick it up. And then, let's round out the blade styles and also build a unique one. So this is completely mine. There is no other one like it. I put the design, blew it up to full size, and moved it one spot to the left, just so that if anybody is as lazy as I am in their blade design, this is still going to be a one of one. Got a bumblebee on the blade there, both sides. This is exclusively mine and no one else's. I really like, I've got issues with Benchmade, obviously everybody does, but I really like that they do that and allow you to build something that is well and truly completely yours. Moving on next to something that I bought, again, I don't remember which one I got first. This is a Kershaw Launch 1, and it did not originally come this way. As previously stated, I like me a tiger stripe. And I really like a tiger stripe. I believe that both of these were Blade HQ exclusives, where this was a black handle tiger stripe, and this was a camo handle. This is aluminum. This, I believe, is G10. And this was a camo handle black blade. But what I wanted, because I want what I want, was a camo handle with a tiger stripe blade. So I got both and swapped them. and hot dog, this thing kicks. It's just amazing. I love it. This is probably my very favorite auto knife, just because it's so good for so many reasons. I'll talk about that by itself later. I'm going to spend too much time gushing, and I'm really going to spend time gushing over these last three, I apologize. The first one is, as I was talking about with the Mannix? No, the Native, I apologize. With the Native, this is one that came in the same round. This is a Spyderco Delica VG10. This is a great knife. Very basic opener, very basic steel. How do you fix that? Well, first, you get an Emerson opener. And this is probably my most carried small knife. This and the Barrage are my very most carried small knives. This is the one that I prefer to carry because, well, I really, really like that opener, as you'll see in a second. So, you improve a Delica by improving the opening mechanism, and also improving the steel. Bento Box M390, and improving the steel. Oh crap. Blade Works, no, Knife Works, that's what it is. Knife Works exclusive, S30V Delica. Absolutely incredible. You know all that there is to know. It's the same fantastic platform, and all you gotta do is gas it up just a little bit. Now, what would be really awesome if they did, Spyderco, please do, make a wave opener in an upgraded steel and maybe coat it, and also in Della size. Della coated, waved, K390 blade. That's it. How many do you want to sell? My penultimate is this, a knife that I aggressively do not like. This is a Kalashnikov in AUS-8. This is a Kalashnikov automatic knife. Push the button, blade go thwack. It's a decent knife. It's a cheap way to get decent quality on an automatic, and it's a cheap way to have a practice run before you spend real money on a good automatic. This is a Benchmade Kabash. It's Casbah, but shut up, we all know it's Kabash. And this is real money, and it was a terrifying purchase at the time that I made it. And this was my practice run just to make sure that I don't hate automatics. And turns out that I didn't, which is fortuitous because this is one of my favorite work knives. I need to clean it out. It gets gritty very easily. The terrible steel really, really ended up getting to me, which is why I upgraded this to something with a better steel. This is also AUS-8, but black coated Warncliffe, you can see how much love I put on this, how many bags of fertilizer this went through, how many times it went with me to the landfill. Incredible knife, still opens with a thwack. I need to clean out the button mechanism, but great knife. My last one is this. And I've told the story before, I'll tell the story again, I'm sure. I'm not going to do it here about how I came across this, but it's a PM2. It's a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. You already know everything that there is to know about it, including that this is an S30V. This is actually not a knife that I cared about particularly much, just because I had other stuff in my collection, in my rotation, that it's not terribly exciting. I don't even particularly know. It had a couple of mechanical issues that I did not know at the time how to fix. I have since, obviously. But, again, we talked earlier about how do you make a knife a little bit more exciting. That's a solid, almost perfect platform. How do you make it more exciting? Well, I'll tell you how. You feed into my problem and give me a flat dark earth handle and a black blade, and you make it in a steel that I've never heard of but have since absolutely fallen balls to the wall in love with in 10V. This is a River's Edge cutlery exclusive. And hot dog, do I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for letting me get this. I'll tell that story later too. So you make it in an absolutely lightning, incredible steel, and then you make that thing with a fun opener. This is a Paramilitary 2 with an Emerson Wave opener that I love so very much, and I'm excited to talk to about it specifically later. That is a Blade Ops exclusive. And this one I don't even have in my primary box anymore, because these two are what a PM2 is to me. This is, I believe, the greatest expression of what a PM2 was always supposed to be. And this is freaking cool. The only way to improve it is to make this an Emerson Wave. Still black, still khaki, still 10V. Just put an Emerson on it. And actually, now that I think about it, I may end up getting a 5x5 pickpocket for that, so that I can Emerson it myself. But that's my collection. That's my collection of doubles. That's why I've got them. If y'all have any doubles, if you have any knives that you super didn't need two of, but you know, it's right there, it's on sale, you found the exclusive, it's in a different color, a different size, whatever it is. If you've got any of those stories, and I know that you do, don't lie to me or yourself, I'd love to hear about them. Other than that, if you've got questions, comments, concerns, let me know. And other than that, y'all have a great day.